Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers doing Mary Jane's Last Dance. I figured it would be a good choice for today, being 420 and all. It is actually 420. Actually, 420 is almost over because it is presently 9:29 p.m. here, live in Reisterstown, Maryland. And I'm your host, Dylan Lang, for a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 292, Raining on the Sun, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But I figured since, 420, why not? Let's play a little song that with a name like Last Dance with Mary Jane. We can probably pretty much figure out what the song is about. So I figured that'd be a nice way to start tonight's episode, even though today is also, besides it being 420, it is Easter Eve. Tomorrow will be Easter Sunday. Children everywhere will wake up in the morning. They will look for their Easter baskets that the Easter Bunny, who's presently making his rounds now, is doing right now, putting all that stuff out there. The Easter egg hunt, stuff like that. Passover also has begun for our Jewish friends, so happy Passover to you all. And today is a weird day in the Catholic world because it is Easter Saturday, where nothing really happens. After Good Friday, church pretty much basically shuts down and doesn't reopen until tonight. Easter Vigil will be tonight around midnight. It's like a midnight mass for Easter. And then tomorrow will be the beginning of the Easter season. So hope you all have a great day today. It was an interesting day today, interesting weekend. It's already been my 3-day weekend are already blown by, and it felt like they literally just blew by. Yesterday spent some time with my dad and stepmom. I haven't seen them in a while. And today spent time with my mom. And then really just been sleeping and looking at my phone and reading a little bit. So that's really all I've been doing. And now tomorrow is Sunday, my last day off for probably a long time because my project starts next week. So I was going to take next Friday off, but I can't now because my project will be going on, and I probably won't be able to have another day off until Memorial Day, which is about a month away. So a little ways to go for another 3-day weekend, but that's the way life is. But it's a late Easter. This is, I think, the latest Easter can be is the 21st, and that's what's going on. So what is today's episode about? I'm going to try to get this done quickly because we got to get to bed soon because the Easter Bunny's got to make his rounds here at our house. So we need to get that taken care of. Sorry, I'm just thirsty. But we got a lot of Florida stories today. I mean, I was just putting them all together. It's there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Florida stories to start off with. A new cosmetic surgery trend, which is going to make all the men out there go, ugh. More inflatables, more shoes, more food. What else do we talk about? That's really all we talk about, aren't you? Stupid people, foldable phones, raining on the sun. A show I was really looking forward to is probably not going to air now. A Lego funeral set. Pornhub creates a new category, which you will not believe what it is. Target is selling some sexual toys. Cannabis is all over the place. It's 420, so there's a couple cannabis stories. IHOP has got some new stuff going on. Let's see, anything else that we can talk about. Nope. We got lots of stuff to talk about. Bloody Mary popsicles, and that's Converse. Okay, and DNA from a mask catches a burglar. So we will talk about all that in a little bit. So without further ado, let us discuss the Florida stuff. So I'm going to start off today with my 5 Florida stories. I don't think I have any other ones around here. But, I mean, it's the big joke is that everything happens in Florida, and it does. It really does. All the weird stuff seems to happen down in Florida. Now, that could be any number of reasons: the heat, the humidity, the rain, just the weird people down there, and just the environment. Who knows? But let's start. A Florida man dies after being attacked by his large flightless bird. I don't remember what the name of the bird was, but it was he had an exotic pet, a large flightless bird, and this bird attacked his owner and killed it. So it's, I guess, one of these birds that you might not want to have as a pet because they can attack and kill you. So I don't know. That's not so weird. That's kind of depressing a little bit. Hungry and horny alligators are intruding upon Florida neighborhoods and swimming pools, since that is not, again, the fault of any Florida people. It's just the alligators who live there. They're going through their mating season, and they're hot and they're horny and they're hungry. They're hungry and they're horny. So they are entering where they think they can get sustenance on both counts. So they're invading neighborhoods and swimming pools. So that just must be really weird. You're swimming in your swimming pool. All of a sudden, this alligator walks up to you, and you're like, "Oh my goodness!" And you get out of there as fast as you can. Interesting story on that end. 3 naked women in Florida at a rest stop, for whatever reason, decided to lead some Florida deputies on a chase. So these 3 naked women, I think, got into a car chase with a bunch of detectives. I don't know why, or the reasoning was. Is it illegal to be naked down there? I suppose it is. But hey, 3 naked women driving real fast in cars. Hey, it's somebody's idea of turn on, really. Florida man arrested outside of Olive Garden for eating pasta belligerently. How do you eat pasta belligerently? I don't understand that. And why would you get arrested for that? I mean, if you're eating pasta belligerently, why are you screaming at people? If you're eating it, you wouldn't be really screaming at people or throwing the food at people, I guess. And how do you eat something belligerently anyway? I couldn't tell you. A Florida contractor misspells the word school in a crosswalk. They spelled it SCOHOL or something like that. I think they transposed a couple of letters besides just one. And that's where the old line comes, you had one job. Why would you have how could you misspell school? Basically, there's a school sign probably right there that says this is how you spell school, or you should have it on the contract. This is what it needs to say, but it was too late. It was already painted and everything, and it says school. So refreshing. I think that's it for all my Florida stuff. Oh no, there's one more. Here we go. More than 24 possible graves were found at a Florida reform school. That's another not good story. It usually means that either the teachers or security or whatever at the reform school got angry at some of their students and killed them and then buried them without anybody knowing, or in the midst of the reform school, fights break out, things get a little heated, and kids get killed. And instead of telling anyone about it, you just bury them and quietly make it disappear or something like that. I don't know what that's all about. That's just kind of creepy and scary as well. This isn't Florida, but it sounds like something that would happen in Florida, and maybe has happened in Florida, but this story is not one of the Florida stories. We've just finished all them up. Woman crashes her car after seeing a spider while driving. So people's fears of spiders, I find, I guess, really, really not funny, but it's interesting because these little 8-legged creatures freak out people so badly, and I couldn't tell you why. I have no problem with spiders. I'm the resident spider killer here at my house, but my wife and my daughter are both hugely scared of spiders, and my son is even a little scared of them as well. Always asks me, can you kill that for me or whatever. So unfortunately, I've had to kill my fair share of spiders, even though they're doing nothing except just walking around the house. But I had to get them to save my family. But something about spiders just gets people where they live all the time, and something so scary as seeing a spider in the car, and you're so scared of them that cause you to crash your car. It just is. It's a little scary. A little bit about that. This also is in Florida, but it's another kind of interesting story. A grandmother was swept out to sea after posing on an iceberg shaped like a throne. So they found this iceberg, I guess, in the ocean or whatever, and it was shaped like a throne. And the grandson or the son or the grandmother were like, "Hey, let's take a picture of grandma on there." Grandma's like, "Okay, cool." So she gets on the iceberg chair and she sits there and she poses, and all of a sudden, the current takes her out to sea. I guess they got her saved, but it's just kind of an interesting story that something like that would happen. Kind of weird, actually. Um, Researchers have discovered an animal from the past that had the body of a whale, paws of an otter, and hooves for toes. That's just a kind of weird, bizarre type of creature to find. They've been finding more and more of these weird creatures in the wild from the ancient times lately. So it's kind of glad that we don't live during that time and that these creatures exist at that time again as well. Here's some food related stuff. I'm not sure about this one, but it would just seem like people will make a potato chip flavor out of anything nowadays. Salty licorice potato chips. Now, licorice has a distinct taste. There's a distinct chemical flavor that can give you a licorice note. Dawn could tell you about that because she deals with it all the time. So I guess they put that in the chip and then they add salt or whatever, and you get a salty licorice flavored potato chip. It's like, who in their right mind would want to eat a salty licorice potato chip? It doesn't sound all that enticing to me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. I mean, that's just me. I mean, maybe there's a group out there, maybe they did research on it and discovered, hey, there's a group of people out there that think this is actually pretty awesome. This one isn't as disgusting, but you know, a lot of big movies come up. The summer movie season basically kind of kicks off next weekend with the arrival of Avengers Endgame. Next week's episode of Dylan Knows will probably be discussing Avengers Endgame. We'll be doing Avengers Endgame on Saturday, and we'll be doing Hershey Park on Sunday. And as you can see, also, my hair is still really thick. I was hoping to get it done this weekend, but now I can't do it tomorrow because we got family stuff tomorrow, and then I'm back to work on Monday. So I was hoping maybe I could get it done this weekend. Maybe Saturday morning I'll get my hair cut. But for now, this is what you get. But yeah, next weekend is the kickoff of summer for the most part in the movies with Avengers Endgame. And then after that, you're going to start getting into some of the other summer movies. There's some big ones here and there coming up, and ones you might not expect, and ones that are sneaking up on you. But another one that's going to be another big one is coming out, I think, a couple days after my birthday. Toy Story 4, the final Toy Story movie, is going to be out, and they're starting the connection. No, not the connection, the advertising and the crossovers with it. So now they are going to be Toy Story goldfish, the goldfish crackers that you like. Well, instead of shapes of goldfish, it'll be shapes of your favorite Toy Story characters and probably some of the new ones as well. Giant inflatable trampolines are now available at Sam's Club. I guess that means you can take your trampoline anywhere you want to. I mean, normally trampolines are a stay at home type of thing, but now you have an inflatable one, which if you want to, the picture I saw of this one had somebody jumping on the trampoline in the water. So I guess maybe you could float it in the water and have it be a trampoline jumping thing as well. I don't know how that would quite work or how it will work, because trampolines need to have that solid foundation for the spring to work. And I don't know if you really get that with a inflatable, but I'm not the creator of it, so who knows? So that's just something else for you coming out this summer. This weekend, as I mentioned, is Easter. It's also Holy Week. And Holy Week start off with kind of a bad thing to happen. Monday, this past Monday, which was Holy Monday, after the day after Palm Sunday, the Church of Notre Dame in Florida caught on fire, destroying spires and the roof and stuff like that. But some of the gold crosses and the big stained glass windows, the famous ones, they were still intact. The interior, not as much damage to it, but the exterior had a bunch of damage to it. So it became a big story for the whole day of Monday. And it was because it is a Catholic church. It was quite a beginning to Holy Week, that one of the most important and famous churches in Catholic history caught on fire to begin the season. There are some other big stories about it. There apparently were bees that live on the roof of Notre Dame. They all survived. And also, people were claiming to see Jesus in the fire. And even someone made a joke that, no, it's just Daenerys from Game of Thrones in the fire as well. But some people claim they saw Jesus in the fire. And billions have been pledged to the repair of it, and that's sort of drawn sort of a split down the middle thing. People are like, okay, it's great that they're going to be able to afford to repair the church, but if these billionaires can just easily just pay thousands of dollars, billions of dollars, whatever, to fix a church, why can't they just go ahead and do that to help the poor or the homeless, or to help the burned out Black churches that were burned by white supremacist Trump supporter a couple weeks ago? So it's a war still going on right now. And then at the same time that Notre Dame was being burned, apparently the Jerusalem Al-Aqsa mosque was burning also. So that's kind of a weird shared story, as if there's a connection there or something like that. I'm not quite sure. So to be continued. They're going to be working on it, and hopefully it'll be taken care of. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm tired. Part of your Easter celebration, well, not everybody does this, but a lot of people do, are the Easter egg hunts. There's a bunch at the local churches today. We have one at my in-laws' house with my kids and their cousins, my nephews and nieces. So they're going to do that tomorrow. But this is kind of interesting. This one dad who has a blind son was feeling bad that his son was not able to participate in Easter egg hunts. So what he did is he created a beeping Easter egg, which is really interesting, and it's something that I can't believe it took so long for somebody to come up with, because it sounds like a no-brainer to do to help blind children. So this dad was able to put some sort of beeping mechanism in all these eggs. I mean, they were small beeping mechanisms. I don't know how he created or where he got the stuff, but he created them and put them in all these eggs, so that when his blind son went out to look for eggs, he could hear them and go to the sound and pick them up, and he'd have eggs. There was other stuff inside it as well, but the beeping noise was coming from inside the egg as well. So I think that's a really good, sweet thing to do for Easter. Speaking of other Easter stuff, chocolate is always a big thing to do with Easter. So there are now chocolate stuffed marshmallows. So you have the marshmallow that's stuffed with chocolate, and everybody's like, that'll change s'mores forever. And I was like, I started thinking about it, I was like, well, then you're not going to buy chocolate bars anymore. And that's part of the fun is, now all you got to do is just put the marshmallow with chocolate on a graham cracker, and boom, you've got your s'more. I was like, but the fun of it is getting a Hershey bar piece or another type of chocolate on it and melt it by yourself and do all that stuff. That's part of the fun of it. But in this case, people are just saying, no, just buy these marshmallows, and that's all we need to buy. We don't need to buy any Hershey bars or whatever. Just stick it on there and get some graham crackers, and we're good. So I don't know how excited I am about that, but it's definitely something intriguing. Speaking of s'mores, the s'mores Oreos will be coming back. I like those. I'm glad they're coming back, along with the marshmallow crispy ones. They'll be coming back as well. So I like the fact that we're getting both of those flavors back again. Let's see. Guy shows up in full Batman outfit to help police in an armed standoff. He was wearing his complete Batman outfit and was there to help police officers in any way he could. I find that kind of interesting. It was in British Columbia, Canada, and I think that's a dangerous story, but it's interesting that someone felt the need he wanted to help save people, And the best way he could do that was to be his favorite hero, Batman. I think that's a very interesting and clever way to do things. Again, it is dangerous, and I'm sure the police probably had him walk away or just watch or said, no, we're okay. We don't need your help. So I don't know. Let's see what else. The Nintendo Switch will be getting smaller and cheaper model in the fall, which is, I just got one for Christmas. So why didn't you tell us about this sooner? But regardless, it's still going to work. Ours is still going to work. It's just a smaller, cheaper version. So for those who have waited to get a Switch, well, now's your time. This would be a good Christmas present for this upcoming year. This upcoming Christmas coming very soon, actually. Very soon. It's only April 20th. So May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 8 months away. So we still got a little ways to go. New inventions. Window expands to a balcony. It's a regular window in someone's house. Now has the ability to be pushed out and create a balcony, so you can have a balcony whenever you want to, and then when you're done with the balcony, you just fold it back up, and it becomes a window again. Kind of a neat idea, I guess. Intriguing. Some you don't see every day. Another one is Samsung. This is funny. Samsung has created a foldable phone. So their phone is very flexible. It's so flexible that you can fold it in half, and I guess makes it easier to put in your pocket or whatever. However, as expected, because they must not have done a really, really good job of doing investigating, complaints have come recently that after 2 or 3 foldings, the phone actually breaks. It just doesn't seem like a foldable phone seems like a good idea. I mean, I guess it is, but those suckers are, and if you keep doing it, it's just going to snap, and you're done. You've lost your phone. Whereas this is solid, ain't going anywhere, not turning it. So let me see how the Orioles are doing. They were losing 13-2, still 13-2. Ugh. So there's that. Let's see. Scientist stuff. All right. Scientist stuff. Scientists have implanted, that's what it is, okay. Scientists have implanted human genomes into monkeys' brains to make them smarter. I guess since they are the closest relative to us, they give them some extra genes, which allows them the chance to be smarter. And once everybody was hearing this story, they were making comparisons to the new versions of Planet of the Apes that has a drug that makes monkeys smarter. So they're thinking it's only going to be a matter of time before the monkeys take over. Speaking of animals, scientists have also restored some functions in the brains of dead pigs, basically bringing them back to life, kind of like the zombie pigs. So they were able to take a dead pig brain and restart it for the most part. Not all of it, but certain aspects of it. And that's, I guess that's also kind of scary too, because next thing you know, they're going to start trying to do that on dead humans as well. And, people who are dead coming back to life, that's how zombies start. So maybe that's how zombie apocalypses start here. Finally, scientists have found liquid blood in a 42,000-year-old frozen ice age animal. So they said, you know what we should do? Jurassic Park was fiction. If we did something like that, we'd be doing fine. So they're going to try to clone this ice age creature with the liquid blood that is still inside the frozen body of this ice age creature. So I just find it kind of interesting that the blood was still inside the body. I guess when you die, most of the time, if you're going to get buried, you get the blood sucked out of you via the coroner. So I guess, because the animal was frozen, nothing was done to take the stuff out. So weird. Weird, weird, weird. Weird story. Speaking of weird, weird story. A homeowner, this is in Florida, which is weird, but a homeowner came home and found a naked man drinking juice on his sofa. So this dude just broke into this person's house, stripped completely naked, got something to drink, and just sat down on the couch and I guess was watching television or something. That's just kind of it can be kind of scary, but it's also kind of weird. And if you look at the mugshot, it looks like an older gentleman, someone that appears to be in their 60s. So maybe he has some mental issues. But it's scary enough to see a stranger naked in your house on your sofa. And any random bunch of stuff could go through your head. They took their clothes off, so they're going to butcher you to death, and the blood will not get on their clothes, or they're going to try to rape you. So it's a scary thing to see that. So I can understand why it was a big deal, and that's just kind of creepy. Now you've all heard the strange conspiracy theories about the Denver International Airport. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's got really weird paintings and statues, and there's rumors that the it's like a portal to hell. And there's because it's so far outside of Denver that it shouldn't really be considered a Denver thing, or they think that it might have something to do with covering for Area 51 and as a cover spot. So there's a lot of, I think if you Wikipedia, you Google Denver International conspiracy theories. Let's see if I can find something. Denver Airport conspiracy theory. So let's see. See there's anything that jumps out at you? Yeah, you type in that there's all kinds of weird stuff about the Freemasons and gargoyles and stuff and demonic horses and all kinds of weird paintings and the murals, and it's all kinds of weird stuff. Check it out if you get a second. Type in like Denver Airport conspiracy theories. Well, the Denver International Airport, they know about this. They decided they're going to sort of make fun of it. So one of their gargoyle statues they created is now going to be a talking gargoyle statue. It's like, hello and welcome to the Denver International Airport. Your flight is here. I think that's kind of funny. Everybody loves the Game of Thrones. I've been reading the recaps on Wikipedia, but I haven't actually seen anything yet. My wife has read the books, but we haven't seen any of the shows. So I've just been reading the recaps. But it's a big thing now, and apparently there's now such a thing as a Game of Thrones pet cloaks. So if you want to dress up your pets with like the big fluffy cloak things that they have up in the north of Game of Thrones, you can do that now. And speaking of clothes for pets, I discovered this one before I came on the air. There are now bridesmaids dresses for dogs. So you can dress up your dog in a bridesmaid dress and either have them be part of your wedding or take you out on, the stag party or whatever. It will actually be the hen party is what they call it in England, but bachelorette party type of thing. So more stuff for your pets. Speaking of pets, a man recovering from surgery, was taking a nap on his sofa or whatever, and he woke up from his nap and discovered a cat lying on his shoulder / body. Only problem is they don't have a cat. And they don't know where this cat came from, and they don't know why he went to this person who had just recovered from surgery and was resting, and the cat went and I guess just sensed that this person needed help or just needed to have comforting on there, and that's what cats do. I'll give you a good example how I believe that is when Dawn was hit by the car back in February. For those who don't know about that, I did an episode in February about what happened to my wife. She was crossing a crosswalk and a car was turning and hit her physically with the car, not spun her around and ran over her foot. No broken bones, but she's been in pain for. It's hasn't been as bad, but she's still suffering a little bit from the pain. But it's not as bad as it was. But nothing was broken, which was good, and she wasn't killed, which is absolutely brilliant. But on our first night, after I brought her home after the accident, because we didn't want, it was snowing, it was late at night, we didn't want to leave the kids alone. I didn't know where the nearby hospital was because I've never gone to the hospital up here. I've always gone to the one in Towson, which I know where it is. And I didn't want to drive at 10 o'clock at night with my injured wife, leaving my kids alone, or getting my kids up in the middle of the night and come with me in the snow. Remember, it was snowing at 10 o'clock at night and the roads hadn't been cleared yet. And my wife decided that she just wanted to go home and see what would happen and recover. And she was suffering a little bit from shock and stuff like that. So we got her into bed and put lots of blankets on her because she was shaking and stuff like that, and put her foot up to elevate it. And Jinx knew something was wrong. So when Jinx came up, instead of going to me, she crossed right over me and curled up on Dawn and laid on her the whole night, helping her heal or whatever. So cats have this knowledge. But it was just interesting that, it must have been some neighborhood cat or whatever knew that this gentleman had had surgery and was in pain or needed a little extra help, and came in to give a little extra love and affection to help it out there. Demi Moore, haven't heard much about her, but you're going to really soon, because she's presently writing a memoir concerning her marriages to Bruce Willis and Ashton Kutcher and her third husband, whoever that is. And when you hear something, I think that would be a really interesting book to read, and I'm going to probably pick it up when it becomes available, just to read like the behind the scenes stuff about their marriages and see what happened and stuff like that. I think it'll be a fascinating read, I think. And there might be more to the story as well, but that's going to be what she's going to be mostly focusing on. I think it's a really good idea for a book, and hopefully going to pick that up, and it'll be out soon. And I'll read that really, really soon as well. There's an invention called a Tomatoton. It's a wearable robot that'll feed you tomatoes as you run. Now, I posted that story on my Facebook page, and Dawn read it a little late earlier today, and she's like, "Why would I want to eat tomatoes while I was running?" I really don't know. But there is an invention called the Tomatoton, where this robot feeds you tomatoes while you run. So do that what you will. Food items. Diet Coke is going absolutely crazy with their flavors. They've released like blood orange and cherry, and that's not so crazy, but they've released some really, really weird lime something or other, some really weird flavors here. And they're smaller cans than you're expecting. Well, they have a new one out now called Blueberry Acai. Diet Coke is now available. And the funny thing about that was I saw the ad for it on Facebook, and I thought, that'd be an interesting story to talk about, because I like talking about new food, stuff like that. And I said, I didn't say anything about when it was going to be out. So it's probably going to be out sooner than later, but I didn't know when it was going to be out. But yesterday we went to an ice cream place called Sub-Zero, and in their cooler chest that had water and Gatorades and juices and soda, stuff like that, was this Blueberry Acai Diet Coke. So it's out and about now. So if that sounds like something you want, go for it. I think I talked about this earlier, but I'm going to bring it up again. Cinnamon churro pancakes topped with mini churros are now available at IHOP. Churros are like a Mexican donut type of thing, and they're really, really good. And the cinnamon is a really nice dusting of it and stuff like that. And there was something else from IHOP. Where is that one? So I can connect it to that. Yes, the cannoli pancakes from IHOP are also a thing now. The line from The Godfather, drop the gun, take the cannoli. It's kind of funny. So they have a cannoli pancake as well. So you can get your cannoli pancake or your churro, cinnamon churro pancakes, both at IHOP. So make your way over to IHOP. I almost took my family to IHOP today, but I was thinking I wanted something more savory. And I've never been a big fan of their like hamburgers and stuff like that. If you go to IHOP, you should eat like pancakes or French toast or something. So, oh well. Some sad news. The Lone Wolf and Cub anime, manga. I'm sorry, the Lone Wolf and Cub manga, which is one of the most famous mangas out there. The creator of it, Kazuo Kaiki, died this week. He also created Crying Freeman manga, which was a really, when it was released into American, it was a very, because it's filled with nudity and sex. It was a very interesting book to take a look at, and I admit I probably have copies of it somewhere in some of these boxes somewhere. And I will admit I got it because of the nudity and sex aspect of it. But Lone Wolf Cub I think it has a little bit of that, but it's mostly about a samurai who's taking a baby in a baby carriage and how he deals with stuff like that. So they are classic mangas and hugely popular, and he has passed away. So our hearts go out to his family. It's after 10 o'clock, so I can bring this up too. Australian men are getting their balls ironed in a brand new, in the latest cosmetic surgery trend. Yes, if you don't already know, men's balls can look a little wrinkly. Do they look wrinkly? Yeah, mine are a little wrinkly. Yep, they're there. Yep, they're just the way it is. Your balls are wrinkly. Hopefully, your partner knows that it's wrinkly, because that means that they like to go down on you and do stuff to you and maybe suck on your balls, but that's besides the point. Anyway, but apparently it's a new trend in cosmetic surgery now that Australian men are getting it ironed so it doesn't have those wrinkles. And I think that's got to be one of the most painful things to even think about. Any aspect down in that area, not just for men, but for women also, just doesn't seem enticing to me. And I don't know what's the difference between it being smooth and wrinkly. I mean, I don't think it really, I don't know, because I've never sucked a ball, but does it really make a difference? I don't know. So what do I know? So yeah, this episode of Dylanknows brought to you by my looking at my balls. Yep. So... Oh yeah, the Saints backup quarterback Teddy Bridgewater was handing out toys at a toy giveaway in New Orleans this week, and there were just so many people, and he ran out of toys, but there were still lots of people who were waiting to get toys. So instead, he had nothing else to give, so he took money out of his pocket and started giving that away to these families. So, you gotta be kind of, what about the people who got the presents and then all of a sudden they see him giving out money? I don't know. Would you be a little bit angry about that? Or the fact that you got a free toy, is that all that matters to your kids? Who knows? Since it is 420, Carl's Jr., which is a restaurant chain, I think we have one in Cockeysville, they are going to release the first cannabis-infused burger. Why not? Cannabis is a huge deal nowadays, and it's in everything, so why not put it in a hamburger? Don't know. Got to continue my streak of talking about shoes. This week, Converse is releasing Pride shoes, where the soles are rainbow colored for the LGBT community, LGBTQ family. So if you want to support them, or somebody who is LGBTQ person and would be interested in that type of thing and like Converse shoes, well, you're going to have your rainbow soled ones out there right now. So good idea. Dang, not even an hour in and I finished this. I should probably get two. I think I'll do that next week. I'll get two of these next week, and I drink one now and then I'll drink the other one right after, because they're cheap at the grocery store. It's like $1 a piece or something like that. We all know Mike Myers from the Austin Powers movies. He has shown acting ability before, but to be honest, his one-trick pony or his big act is that he likes to play multiple roles in his movie, i.e., the Austin Powers films. So I Married an Axe Murderer, stuff like that. Well, Netflix has decided they wanted to create a show centered around Mike Myers as he creates a whole bunch of new characters, and he will play them in a series on Netflix. And despite what I may have said, that might be an interesting idea depending on what Myers does with it. But the fact that you have a show where he plays multiple characters could be interesting in the long run if you think about it. So good on that. Speaking of shows that I want to see, I will not be able to see this unless someone else picks it up, apparently. FX has apparently decided that they are going to cancel Y: The Last Man. They originally got a pilot made for it, and then they picked it up for series. And now they are saying, nope, we're not going to do series anymore. Which is a shame because it is one of those great comic series that should be a TV series and needed to be done perfectly. And FX seemed like they had a good lineup ready for it. They had a good good cast, and they are on FX where they could do a little bit more of the heavy stuff. But because it is, I guess, a little political, I suppose, they decide they are going to, in the end, reject it with the way the political climate is now, which is kind of ridiculous. So here's hoping that maybe a Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or somebody picks it up, and or in the DC streaming service picks it up and airs it, because it definitely deserves to be a TV show and definitely deserves to be seen by everybody. But that's not going to stop you from going to your local comic book store and picking up the Y: The Last Man series. It was a finite series. It only had like 69, 70 issues or something like that. So you can read it all in a couple sittings and get the whole story. And it's very well written by Brian K. Vaughan. Speaking of the DC streaming service, Swamp Thing, which was a TV show that they were going to be doing for the streaming service, has shut down production. The DC Universe streaming service is getting a little worried about the Disney streaming service coming, and they're afraid they're going to lose a lot of money. So the series had already started, and they released a teaser trailer this week that shows what you're going to be seeing, but they have told the producers that they are no longer going to finance like 12-ish episodes. They're only going to finance 10, and they're going to need to wrap it up in the 10th episode because they're probably not going to renew it for a second season because they are nervous about the arrival of Disney Plus, and they don't know if it's going to be bad for business for them. So that's to be continued because they still have a whole bunch of other shows that are in the process of being made. Are they going to do that for all the shows? Are they really that nervous that something is going to, that Disney's going to do it? Because let's face facts, yes, the Disney streaming service is probably going to become as big as Netflix is when it comes out in November. But it's still good to have options and choices, and you shouldn't panic at your first sight of it. Just let's see what happens. Spend 1 year after Disney Plus comes out and just see what happens. Keep doing what you're doing, do new shows, get new stuff brought in, and somehow if your subscriptions go down, try to figure out a way to get them to come back. It's just worth a try. And then if it just doesn't work, then you can drop it out then, but it's not worth doing that. Just giving up now before anything happens. A neighborhood dog was captured by a coyote, and a Rottweiler runs to his rescue. So again, more proof that the animals are working together, teaming up and helping each other, and that could be a sign of things to come for our animal friends. So that's interesting. There is a ranch in Oregon, that is called the Rock Ranch, and all they do is create different types of rocks. So it's just something you don't hear about every day. A ranch, when you hear ranch, you think of horses and cows and stuff like that, but not rocks. And here you have a rock ranch in Oregon. Oregon, by the way, is a beautiful state to visit. I've driven through it and haven't spent a lot of time in it. I'd like to go back out there again. I'd like to stay in Portland for a little bit and some other stuff as well. Check it out because they've got good wine also. And what you do, speaking of wine, see my segue. You can spend the night in a wine barrel hotel room. Now, last week I talked about, I guess, the Stagecoach hotel rooms or something else. Not quite sure, but this one is a giant wine barrel, and it's on the property of wineries. I think the one that they were talking about was in Germany, and you can spend the night in a big giant wine barrel. When they showed the inside, it looks kind of boring on the inside, to be honest. And it didn't even look like it had a bathroom, but that was just from one perspective from the bed. So we'll see what happens. But the niche hotel room things is kind of a neat thing, and if you're interested in some weird kind of thing like that, you should totally check it out. Kit Kat is creating a new candy. They are doing the Kit Kat Duos, would be coming soon. This one is, Kit Kat is usually the cookie and chocolate crispy type of bar thing. Well, they're going to do one called Duos, where they're going to have mixed flavors. This one has a mint interior and a dark chocolate cover. So when you bite into it, you get the dark chocolate and mint flavor, and it's going to be called Duos. Now, eventually down the line, they'll probably do other ones, other mixes. Chocolate, you do a chocolate and peanut butter one as well. Chocolate, probably do chocolate strawberry, chocolate raspberry, all kinds of stuff like that. So, excuse me. So you've got that to look forward to. So that'll be coming out soon. So keep an eye on that. I'm not a big fan of mint and chocolate. I think I've told the story before, but I'll tell it again. One Thanksgiving at my grandparents' house, they had a candy dish filled with Andes candies, those mint chocolate type of things. And I ate a bunch of those and ended up throwing up soon afterwards because I ate so many of them. And from that point on, I just did not want to have any connection between mint and chocolate flavoring in my mouth. So I'm not a big fan of that. So I would not be one of the people to eat this, but there might be lots of people out there who do like it. So go for it. This summer, Barks Root Beer is creating a frozen root beer and ice cream float. So everyone loves root beer floats. It's something good during the summer. We called them brown cows here in Maryland. You put a couple scoops of ice cream into a cup, you pour some root beer on it, and you use a spoon and you eat the ice cream with the root beer on, and eventually the ice cream starts to melt and the root beer is still there, and it forms sort of a liquidy mix of root beer and ice cream, and you drink it down. It tastes pretty good. So yummy, yum, yum. You can also do that with like orange soda and vanilla ice cream as well, and have like a creamsicle type of drink thing as well. So Barks is doing a frozen root beer and ice cream float, which you'll be able to get in grocery stores this summer. Let's check and see if the Orioles are still losing bad. Oh, they're coming back 13-4. They've got 2 innings to score 9 runs. Not going to happen, but we'll see. Pickle chips. Again, I'm not a big pickle fan. I know there are people who are, but they are now creating chips made out of pickles. So it's not just pickle flavor. It's actual pickles that are hardened chip type of the way they do potatoes. They're going to do pickled chips as well. So Vlasic is doing those, and they're one of the pickle people. So if you're a big pickle fan, keep an eye out for those as well. I don't know when it's coming out, but it should be coming out soon, I think. Dairy Queen's Brownie and Oreo sundae is legend. It is here. It is layered sundae. It's layered with chocolate brownies and chocolate Oreos and probably chocolate ice cream and vanilla ice cream, stuff like that. But it is a decadent, sweet chocolate overload. For you fans of chocolate, absolutely go crazy for it. What am I going at now? The MCU is, as I said, next week is Avengers Endgame, and we've gotten some word that the Eternals is going to be one of the movies that's going to come in the new wave of Marvel movies come out in the next few years. And all the sequels, of course, you got Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2, Captain Marvel 2, Black Widow movie is going to be out next year. There's all kinds of stuff. Another Ant-Man and the Wasp movie might be in the making. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. You got all kinds of stuff coming away. So, but they are going to create some new stuff. And one of the things they are creating is they're going to be doing a Squadron Supreme movie coming from Marvel as well. Now, Squadron Supreme was a alternate reality team that was Marvel sort of making fun of the Justice League. All the characters are Justice League archetypes. They have Hyperion, who's like Superman. There's Nighthawk, who's like Batman. I forget what the woman's name, who's like Wonder Woman. You've got the Wizard, who's like the Flash. You've got Dr. Prism, who's like Green Lantern, stuff like that. And so, they were a team that came, they fought the Avengers back in the 70s, and they've periodically been used here and there for things. But I will never forget, and I think I have it back. I got to reread it. I think I have it back in my my bookshelf over there. But the Squadron Supreme 12-issue miniseries written by Mark Gruenwald with art by Paul Ryan was one of my favorite comic books of all time. It's a great underrated story that not a lot of people know about. And here's hoping that maybe this movie will be an alternate reality MCU movie and not necessarily be in the MCU, because they've also brought the Squadron Supreme into regular and Marvel creations in the comic books. But what's great about the 12-issue miniseries that Mark Gruenwald wrote was basically everyone asked, well, why doesn't, if Superman and Wonder Woman have all these powers, why don't they go and like create world peace and stuff like that? Because they could probably destroy all the weapons and take out, evil rulers and stuff like that. They just don't want to get involved in politics and stuff like that. That's why they stay neutral. They don't want to give like one country an advantage or whatever. But in the Squadron Supreme miniseries, someone has created a behavior modification machine. So whenever they catch a bad guy, they take them to this behavior modification machine, which changes their mind which modifies their mind from bad to good. So they become good guys and not bad guys anymore, and become good members of society. And then they start doing that to regular criminals. And then before you know it, you've got a utopia where the Squadron Supreme is the leader across the world, and everybody is happy and good, and there's no violence and death and murder and stuff like that, and everybody is happy and fun and having a great time. And that's when you start getting into, and that's when Nighthawk starts thinking this isn't right, because you're taking away people's free will, and that's where the whole story comes from. So I hope they do something like that, because it is a great story, and hopefully it'll make you think a little bit. Excuse me. There is a new water bowl for dogs, which looks like a toilet. It's a small mini toilet. You put your water jug at the top, and it goes through the toilet part, and then it comes out in a toilet bowl where the dogs can go and they can drink like they're drinking out of the toilet, and the water will keep refilling when it runs low. So it's a cute idea. If you have dogs, particularly if you have dogs that drink from the toilet, it's it might be a way to keep them from drinking from the real toilet and drink from their fake toilet. So that might be good. A 23-year-old woman was left partially paralyzed after suffering a stroke from cracking her neck. Now, have you ever done that before? You twist your leg, your arm, your back, your neck like that, or you go like that just to crack your neck. Well, she did that, and she caused a stroke to herself, which caused her to be partially paralyzed. So just be warned that if you do this too much or too hard, you may suffer from a stroke and become partially paralyzed. Just beware of that. Man sues his parents for $87,000 for getting rid of his vast porn collection. I think the reason why he's so mad was I think they threw out all of his porn videotapes and old Playboys. And the old Playboys actually, depending on what era they're from, could actually be worth a lot of money. So it might be where this $87,000 weird suing is coming from. But the fact that he's suing his parents, which I think he still lives at home, that's why he was suing his parents, that they he's mad at them for throwing out his porn collection, and so now he's suing them for $87,000. So we'll see what happens. To be continued on that one. Did I mark that one already? Yes, I did. So speaking of porn, Pornhub is the website you want to go to catch your free porn on the website, on the internet. And they have a search engine where you can type in any sexual fantasy thing you're into, and they will take you to videos that are done in that format because they have so many videos. So if your thing is seeing MILFs, moms I like to fuck, and you can type that into the search engine and it'll list all the videos that have MILF in it. So you get your chance to do that. Well, they've created a new category on Pornhub called B-Sex. And they're doing this as a way to help preserve bees, because we all know the story that bees are starting to disappear. And if we lose the bees, we lose crops, we lose food, we basically lose our lives for the most part if we're not careful. So we can't lose the bees. So they take films of bees pollinating flowers, which is basically their version of bee sex. And what they do is they have porn stars that do vocals over it, like they're being the bees. Like there's a bee that's coming into a flower, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming for you, baby. Look at my big spear." And then the flower's done by a porn star also. And she's like, "Yeah, take my petals," and stuff like that. So they have them voicing the bee sex videos, and it's on there. As I said, it's there to bring about understanding and get people to say, hey, we need to start taking care of our bees, or else, we're going to lose our lives. So it's a good thing, and it's interesting that they're doing something like that. So that's good about that. Target is selling vibrators now. So if you, most times you probably want to buy your vibrator discreetly. And I guess now that they have self-service, get it, never mind, self-service lines there, you can probably get it there. So and not get judged by that, because that's one of the things I do when I buy condoms. I go to grocery stores and buy condoms, but I always feel kind of embarrassed taking them right to like a register with a real person in it. So I do the self-service storage line. I shouldn't be embarrassed, because it means I'm having sex with my wife and I want it to be safe. Not that we really have that issue anymore, because my wife hasn't had her period in like 3 years, so we wouldn't get pregnant probably anyway, but you never know. You never know what could happen, regardless. But so I guess it's interesting, but I mean, I don't know if that's going to stop people from maybe getting them from their online or whatever and delivered directly to their house. They probably have the ones online are probably better than the ones at Target. But if you're in a pinch and you need to get a new one and you don't want to wait, Target's your place. Bloody Mary popsicles are an adult treat for this summer, and I guess it'll take longer to freeze, but I guess vodka can freeze. So basically you use ice cubes, trays like you do when you make regular popsicles, and you mix a Bloody Mary stuff and you pour it into the ice cube mixes, and you stick in celery sticks and you put in the freezer and let it freeze for a while. And then when it's ready, you pull them out and you grab it by the celery stick, you pop it out, you got yourself a nice cube of Bloody Mary mix, and you eat it that way. And then you can eat the celery on it as well. So interesting new take on the popsicle for grown-ups particularly. An artist, speaking of Easter, an artist has turned 5,000 marshmallow peeps into a Game of Thrones dragon. It's actually really a neat-looking dragon design made completely out of peeps, using all the different color peeps to make different colors on the dragon. It's very creative, and it's very interesting looking. You got to give the guy credit for that. So huzzah on that. Lego will start selling funeral sets, which are to help kids learn about death. It's like you can make a cremation machine and you can make other stuff as well that's connected to death, but you can do it with Legos. So it's intriguing, and I don't know where you can get it. I don't think you can get it from a store right now. I think it's a specialized item. You can get it only certain places, but the fact is they exist. Um, Bowling at an underwater aquarium. We went bowling today when we went to visit my mom. It's one thing she likes to do. We go to a duck pen bowling facility, which is right up the street from where my mom lives, which is where I grew up. And duck pin is a Maryland thing. I don't know if you can see it outside of Maryland, but it's not played like 10 pin. It's played similar to 10 pin, but instead the pins are smaller, the ball is smaller, and you get 3 throws instead of 2. And the rest of it is regular bowling. You know, your whole goal is to knock down the 10 pins, but you get 1 extra turn to do it instead of 2 turns when you play regular bowling. But this was kind of cool that there's an underwater aquarium, and the exterior of this bowling alley is entirely made of glass, and you're underwater, and either in the tank or actually underwater in a facility that's an aquarium type of place. And you can bowl while fish and sharks and stuff swim around you. So kind of cool looking. It was a neat looking picture that I saw, and I thought it was kind of cool looking. Sailor Moon, the anime, has a live action musical out now. So if you're a fan of the Sailor Moon manga and anime, you can go see a Broadway show featuring Sailor Moon as well. I think it's a musical, so you get all that as well. Men with beards generally have more germs than dogs. Study finds. Men with beards and long hair, I guess, I think that's what it was, have more germs than dogs. I guess that makes sense. I got a little just a goatee going thing because I didn't feel like shaving. I will shave this all off tomorrow and have it be clean shaven for Easter. But I guess, I mean, I guess if you're eating and maybe little dribbles of food or whatever get stuck in your beard and you don't know it, and it's not something that's so obvious out there, but it's in there, I guess maybe after a while it would turn into a germ type of thing. I guess I can kind of see that. It rains on the sun, hence the name of this episode, Raining on the Sun. But it's not what you expect when it comes to rain. It's plasma rain, which there's like a flare almost that the sun shoots off of this plasma stuff, and it enters the atmosphere and then comes back down in droplets, but in plasma, not water. So they just, to give you an idea of what it would be kind of like, they call it rain. So it's plasma rain on the sun. That's kind of a neat thing to find out about, that it actually does something strange like that. It seems like everybody's getting a TV show for the MCU on Disney Plus. Now they announced that War Machine will be getting his own series, which is fine. It's great. Hopefully all these series are going to be successful. They can get the same actors to do it. I think it'll be a big boon for the series itself, and maybe get some crossover stuff to do that as well. So we'll see what happens. But again, these are all have just been announced. I mean, it's going to take time to, get the scripts written, get the actors, get the sets done, film it, edit it, and then release it. So War Machine and Disney Plus doesn't come out till November. So these shows that we keep mentioning over and over again, they might not start right away. They might not start till December, January, February. So you got a little bit of time before then. And in this case, War Machine might not be out till next year at this time, or even later. Who knows? A guy hand farts his way to victory at Britain's Got Talent. I guess it's one of these. I can't even do it. You squeeze your hands a specific way and it makes fart noises. Apparently he did this in a really good way, maybe made a song or something out of it, and he actually won Britain's Got Talent. So go figure. So just figure this. Dude's leaving a convenience store, trying to get to his car in the parking lot. And it's at night, and while he's doing that, there's a lot of people around, and all of a sudden fights break out. And unfortunately, where he's going and where he's looking to go to try to avoid the fights, unfortunately fights pop up around him, and he ends up getting involved in 3 fights walking the short distance from the convenience store to his car. That's just bad luck for that guy, and kind of a weird story actually if you think about it. Georgia Engel from the Mary Tyler Moore Show and some other shows as well died at the age of 70 this week as well. It was interesting to see Ed Asner, tweet something about missing her and stuff like that. It's always sweet when you see stuff like that on the TV. So, any better? 15-7. Jeez. We were catching up. It was 13-7 would be so much better, but now it's 15-7, so not so much. The Chicago Blackhawk hockey team. I don't think they're in the playoffs. Maybe they are. The Blackhawks in the playoffs. Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah, I don't think they're in the playoffs this year. Yeah, I don't think they're in the playoffs this year. So, yeah, they were in the basement this year, so they didn't even make it to. They were 36-34 with 12 ties. So yeah, they were like next to last. So I don't think they made it to the. But regardless, they are. It's hockey. It's National Hockey League. They're one of the original teams out there, and they have created a hockey program just for girls, which I think is really kind of cool to get girls interested in that type of stuff. So good on you guys for teaching girls who might be interested in playing hockey into a program like this where you can get Chicago Blackhawks players, stuff like that, to teach them how to play hockey, which is really an interesting thing. An Alabama man and took his baby to a Chuck E. Cheese, and while he was in the parking lot, he accidentally got himself and his baby shot when his loaded gun in the diaper bag went off mysteriously. So dude carries a loaded gun in his baby's diaper bag, and something causes the gun to discharge out of the diaper bag, and it ends up hitting the baby and the dad. That's just terrible parenting. And again, people who shouldn't have guns, and more proof that guns are not for everybody, and there should be some sort of lean or look at guns and stuff like that, some sort of gun control, as it were. I know that's not a very popular word, but we're going to start needing it soon. DNA from a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mask leads police officers to arrest a robbery suspect. Now, that's one thing I've always said. If I was going to rob a bank or something like that, I would put on a costume or a mask or something like that, so people would not recognize me and the cameras wouldn't catch me and stuff like that. This guy apparently put on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mask, which you can probably get at any party store or whatever. So it's really not that big of a deal. The police can investigate a little bit, but there might be like 20 to 30 people who bought the same mask. They'd have to investigate, and it's going to be a long investigation. So, and they still might use it to try to find it. But what you should always do is you should always destroy whatever it is that you wore when you committed your crime, and destroy it so well and separate it so much that, you know, and just think, the thing you got to do is you think in your mind is, what if the police discover that you are the culprit and they're going to try to do a case against you? They're going to look for the gun or the weapons. They're going to look for the costume because they saw you wearing a costume. They're going to try to look for all this stuff. So what you need to do is, if you want to be a good criminal, you figure out a way to get rid of it. A good possibility what you do is, if you have a dump near you, grab a bunch of stuff that you were going to throw in the dump anyway, get a box of like junk that you don't use anymore, take the mask, hell, you could probably put the gun in there as well, put it in the box and cover it with all this stuff. Hell, you could probably even tape up the box or whatever, throw it into the dumpster area. And if you've ever noticed, what these things tend to do is they push all the trash into an area where it gets compacted. So, I mean, you don't want to, now, if you put the gun in there, you get the bullets out of it, so it doesn't discharge, and so it just gets flattened, and it gets sent to wherever trash is. And so there goes the mask, and there goes the gun. You won't be able to find it. But this person left his mask around, and they found some DNA on it, because these masks were probably these leathery type of ones. There's probably some sweat or spit in there, and they were able to access the DNA, and it discovered who the person was and arrested them. So not a smart move on that person's case. That's what you do. You get rid of the stuff as soon as you can, but don't just throw it like some random trash can or whatever. That might work sometimes, but spread it out. Maybe put one thing in one trash can, one in another, but not anywhere near the location of the crime. You can put it far, far away, whatever. But again, if you really want to get rid of it, take some stuff to the dump, put it in boxes and tape up the box or whatever. Just throw the boxes over the side, and they'll just push the stuff into the dump, and it gets compacted, and that's it. That's how trash gets taken care of. It's not just lying around doing whatever. So good on that. Finally, the final thing we're going to do for tonight, because Easter awaits for nobody. There's a new invention. I think it looks like the Japanese did this one again. Makes sense. Called a fire vase. It's a regular flower vase, but you can use it as a flower vase. So you can put water in it and put flowers in it, and it looks like a pretty flower vase. But what it actually is the vase itself has a liquid inside of it, and they put the glass around it so that the liquid is trapped inside the glass and doesn't affect the flowers and stuff like that and the water in there. This item is potassium carbonate. So if, say, a fire breaks out your oven, electrical fire, whatever, and you get a ball of fire sitting up over there, you grab the vase and you throw it into the fire. When the glass shatters, the potassium carbonate gets released, and poof, it takes out the fire like that. They were showing, the ads were showing how it works, and it's quite fascinating and quite interesting to see how it works. So good on that. And that is it for today's show. Let's just do Check I Day real quick. Every day is literally a holiday, and this is, more proof of that. So, check. Yeah. The 21st. We'll do about 21st second. But today's 420. So today's 420, so that's always a big one. It's Chinese Language Day. It's Holy Saturday. It's Husband Appreciation Day today. It's Lima Bean Respect Day. I love lima beans, so respect the lima bean. It's National Cheddar Fries Day, National Look-alike Day, National Pineapple Upside Down Cake Day. It's the start of Passover. It's Volunteer Recognition Day. It's World Circus Day. Yesterday, April 19th, was Bicycle Day, Good Friday, Humorous Day, John Parker Day, National Amaretto Day, National Garlic Day was April 19th, National Hanging Out Day, National Oklahoma City Bombing Commemoration Day. White Women's Equal Pay Day was on April 19th. April 18th was Adult Autism Awareness, Get to Know Your Customers Day, International Amateur Radio Day, International Day for Monuments and Sites, International Pizza Cake Day, Maundy Thursday, National Animal Crackers Day, National Ask an Atheist Day, National Dare Day, National High Five Day, National Lineman Appreciation Day, National Velociraptor Awareness Day was on April 18th. Newspaper Columnist Day, Pet Owners Independence Day, Pinata Day, Support Teen Literature Day. The 17th, real quick, was Bat Appreciation Day, blah, blah, blah Day, Ellis Island Family History Day, Holy Wednesday, International Ford Mustang Day, International Haiku Poetry Day, Malbec World Day, National Bookmobile Day, National Cheese Ball Day, National Kickball Day, Nothing Like a Dame Day, School Librarians Day, World Hemophilia Day was April 17th. And then tomorrow, the 21st, is World Creativity and Innovation Day, Tuna Rights Day, Thank You for Libraries Day, San Jacinto Day, National Yellow Bat Day, National Tea Day, National Chocolate Covered Cashews Day, National Baked Ham with Pineapple Day, Kindergarten Day, Keep Off the Grass Day, Go Fly Kite Day, Easter Sunday, Bulldogs Are Beautiful Day, and Big Word Day. And that's it. So that is all we are going to do today. And I got it done quicker than I wanted to, which is great. I'm not going to do a Chris Davis is pitching. Sweet. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do a comic call this week just because I don't really feel much like it. Let me just see. Is Chris Davis actually pitching? Yes, he is. He's pitched 2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 strikeout. So I guess they needed to use him because it's top of the 9th inning. So they used him before, and he struck out the side once for the Boston Red Sox. That's pretty funny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got today. Enjoy your Easter. Happy Easter. Happy Passover, whatever you study. Next week is Avengers Endgame week. My show next week will probably cover my review of Avengers Endgame. I will look in to see if I can grab MJ Khan. I know I've said that before. We have a lot to discuss now. We can talk about all the movies that come out. And Free Comic Book Day will be coming up in 2 weeks. So we got that to talk about as well. So Avengers Endgame is this weekend coming up. So this is Avengers Endgame week. And I will be watching it on Saturday, 1 week from tonight. So actually 1 week from today at this time, I will have seen Avengers Endgame. So keep that in mind. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you next week. Happy Easter.